Welcome to the first TBR of 2025. We are bringing back TBR Bluff, of course, but this year it is with a brand new board. I'm so excited for this board. I'll walk you through all of the spaces on it in just a minute. If we can keep Wilder away from it, he thinks this thing is the best thing ever and he's chewing on it and driving me absolutely crazy. I decided to go with a 5x5 this year just because I think it would make everything a little bit easier. I got rid of some of the prompts that I wasn't really in the mood for anymore, like sci-fi, things like that, and I'm really excited with how it turned out. There are a couple of inspirations from other creators on here like Cassidy and Lexi, and I'm just really excited for what 2025 is going to bring. We are leaning into the reading what we want and out with the things that we don't want to read, so I'm very excited about this TBR. If you have no idea what TBR Bluff is, this is your first ever TBR Bluff. Basically, I roll a set of dice up to 3 times. The corresponding dice give me a prompt on the board. Once I have gotten that prompt, I cover it up, and once there are 5 in a row covered, I can clear the board and everything is good and happy in the world again. If I can't find a prompt on the board, I have to bust out a spinner wheel that will help me choose and add a extra roll. Last month I did not finish my TBR, but since we're starting fresh in the new year, I am not going to be adding a punishment roll. I do have a couple of required reads that I need to read in January. If I don't get them on the board, we will chat about it then. This intro is already far too long, so let's jump into all of the new spaces on the brand new board. Okay, it is time to walk through the brand new 2025 TBR Bluff board. I'm so excited for this one. I think it's going to be a great year and give me lots of great reads. But really quickly, let's just walk through the squares and then we'll do our first roll. So just like last year, the numbers have a corresponding color just to make it a little bit easier for everybody to see things. So up here with 4 6s, we have a video project. This is basically just going to be a book from some video that I am currently working on, whatever that may be. Next, we have new to TBR. So this is kind of up to my discretion, but probably a book that I haven't hauled yet or got within the last couple of months. Book club or read along typically is going to be my Patreon buddy read or the Not So Indie book club, which I host with Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy. Then we have Kindle Unlimited. So any book that is on Kindle Unlimited. 4 5s is a chunky book. Typically for me, this is a book that is over 500 pages. Next up, we have 2 6s and 2 2s, which will be a pet pick. I will get any of my pets, probably Wilder or Ollie because they're the more compliant ones, to choose me a book. 2 6s is a special edition, so anything probably that I got like in a book box or that has sprayed edges, not a standard edition book. 2 6s and 2 1s is a backlist book, so anything published not last year, so not in 2024 but in 2023 or prior. Next up, we have 2 5s and 2 1s, which is steal a book. So this is going to be I'll take a book from anybody else's TBR that I know about. We have our helper always. 2 5s and 2 2s is a poll pick, so I can put a poll up anywhere. Patreon, usually it'll probably be Patreon, I'll let them vote, but it could also be Instagram, wherever. Then with 2 5s and 2 3s, we have a weapon on the cover. So you know how a lot of those romantasy books, they're holding like a knife or a sword, so anything like that on the cover. Then we have 2 5s and 2 4s, which is just a genre, a horror book, anything that's horror. So 4 4s is a hyped book. So this is anything that I've been hearing a lot about and want to read because someone else has hyped it up. That can be the general internet, that can be a friend, whatever. Full House, I was gonna take this off because I always screw it up, but you know what? It's entertaining to watch me screw it up. So we're just gonna give me a incentive to try to figure this out and go with wild, so I can pick any book for this one. 2 4s and 2 3s is a romantasy, so another genre pick, very straightforward. 2 4s is a skip, so basically if I land on this, I don't have to pick a book, it's a free space, I move on to the next roll. 2 4s and 2 2s is a character art cover, so think like the new Bonded by Thorns or Daughter of No Worlds, like those books that have a character prominently on the cover and they're not just like a pattern or something like that. 2 4s and 2 1s, again another genre, which is a fantasy. I'm gonna have to be careful and not use a romantasy for this square because it needs to be more of like a true fantasy book. 4 3s is a friend fave, so anything a friend or someone that I watch a lot on BookTube has given 4 or 5 stars. 2 3s and 2 2s I desperately needed on here, and that is to continue a series. I have so many series that I really need to read that I have just been slacking on. 2 3s and 2 1s is a reverse page count, so basically I'll take the page count of the book before and flip it, so if it's 423 pages, and now I need to read a book that's 324 pages. Then with 4/4s, we have a multi-point of view. So this is a book that has got preferably more than 2 points of view, but I might occasionally stretch this to a 2 points of view or more because I don't have a dual POV on here. So at least 2 points of view or more. 2 2s and 2 1s is an underhyped book, so something that I've not really heard very many people talk about. I may have heard 1 or 2 people, but just as a general rule, not a lot of people are talking about it. 4 1s is a book that's in first person, so I did this, I did that kind of thing. And then we have a free space, which is when I cannot find anything else on the board, and that is a color generator. So basically I'll just go on Google, click a color generator, whatever color comes up, I need to find a book with the cover that is similar to that color. So this is the new board. You'll notice that it is now a 5x5. I think that that'll just work a little bit better for me, and it'll be a little simpler for you guys because once I have gotten 5 in a row, we're able to clear the board, so it'll go corner to corner. Okay, so that is the new board. I'm so excited about it. I think it's going to make for a great reading year. So without further ado, let's jump into the first roll. TBR Bluff, roll number 1 on the brand new board. That got us 2 6s, a 3, a 5, and a 4. So for 2 6s, we could pretty much go with anything. So I'm definitely going to keep those. But do I want to keep a 4, a 5, or a 3? I always need to get a book club or read-along book on there. I can always read something on KU. So honestly, none of these are bad. But I think I'm going to keep the 5 and the 6s and re-roll these 2. Okay, so that got me what I wanted, which is new to TBR. Our first roll got us new to TBR, and for this one I'm gonna go a bit on a wild card here, and I'm going to pick a book that is very different from what I would normally pick, and that is Flawless by Elsie Silver. I read Wild Love last year and adored it. I gave it 4 stars. I liked it so much, and I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed it. So everyone's telling me that I desperately need to pick up her Chestnut Springs series, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start 2025 off with a little bit of contemporary romance. This one was gifted to me for Christmas from Claire. So thank you so much, Claire, for gifting me this. It's brand new to my TBR and I'm so excited to read it. Okay, TBR Bluff, roll number 2. Let's see. So we got 2 3s and 2 2s on that one, which is a continuous series. Am I just gonna make this the most boring TBR ever and go with like the first things that I get? I think that I am. Roll number 2 got us 2 3s and 2 2s, which is to continue a series. And for this one, I am going to be going with Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This is the 3rd book in the Fourth Wing series, which I am that girly and I am so excited for. I cannot wait to read this book. Even though Iron Flame was okay, but not my favorite, I'm still such highly anticipating Onyx Storm. We're going to be reading this for the February pick of the Not So Indie Archive, which, like I told you guys, is the book club that I host with Covers with Cassidy on Patreon. But I'm not reading it in February. I'm going to be reading it in January. Actually, it comes out the day before my birthday. I have off that week, so I'm going to be binge reading that book the day it comes out. TBR Bluff, roll number 3. 2 3s, a 2, a 4, and a 5. So 2 3s, we could get Romantasy, we could do KU, Weapon on the Cover, Reverse Page Count, Friend Fave. I would love this one because January is Booktuber Favorites month, so that one would work really, really well. So we're going to keep the 2 3s, and I think I'm going to re-roll the other 3. Okay, so that got me a 1, a 5, and a 6. Very, very, very unhelpful. Am I going to have regretted this on the 3rd roll of the new board? Okay, last roll. So that got me 3 3s, which is not on the board anymore. And because I have changed the board, I had much less spaces. So 2 3s is not on the board either. Wow, I think I'm gonna have made this a lot harder for myself than I originally meant to. So, we're gonna have to, on the 3rd roll of the game, go with free space. We have already used free space. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that I used free space on the 3rd roll of the brand new board of the new year. Like, what? But I did. So we have to do a color generator. So let me pull that up on Google really quick and see what color we get. I really need a gray. I need a gray to get a book on the board. Here's my generator. Can you see? Can you see? This is not the color we have to generate. What? Red. Strawberry red. I'm gonna cheat just a little bit and I'm gonna make this work for me. So we're going to be going with City of Gods and Monsters, and you may be saying, Mel, that is not red. It does have a little red on it, but the spine is very, 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 very red. Like, to the point where I couldn't find it on my shelves because I was looking for this color and not this color. So this is definitely strawberry red. We're going to be going with this because this is the January Not So Indie Archive pick, and it's too chunky to not get on the TBR and to have just hanging out. So we're going to be putting this on there. I'm hoping it'll end up on a booktuber's favorite. I've seen a lot of people buzzing about it. It's been compared to Crescent City and kind of the vibes, which I really enjoyed the first book, so I'm hoping that this will work really well for me. It's a city of monsters, vampires, werewolves, all the different things, and I think a bounty hunter, if I'm not mistaken. I've had this on my TBR since the beginning of 2024. I think Jonathan gifted this one to me, so I really, really need to get it read. All right, TBR Bluff, roll number 4. 2 3s again, and 2 2s, which is, dadgummit, it's not on the board either. So we're gonna keep, are we keeping the 2s or the 3s this time? Are we gonna shoot for friend Fave again? Yeah, I think we are. Okay, 2 3s and 2 5s. That one I can work with. That one is weapon on the cover. I don't want that prompt, but we're gonna make it work. And then for TBR Bluff roll number 4, we got 2 5s and 2 3s, which is a weapon on the cover. And I'm just realizing that I did not pick a book for this one. So, not a weapon. I know which one I could pick, but I want to get something on that I think will be on booktuber favorites. Does this one have a... Nope. Okay. Well, we're just gonna go with what my original thought process was and do Fate and Furies by Helen Scher, I think is how you say her last name. This one obviously has 3 lovely daggers on the front, and it is the 3rd book in the Legends of Thesmar series, which started with Blood and Steel. I have been really enjoying this series. I flew through, what was it, Vows and Ruins a couple of months ago and have just been having such a great time with this series. I do want to finish it off because the sequel series comes out in January, and I want to be on the hype. I want to be able to start that off with everyone else. So I need to read books 3 and 4 in this series so that I can get to that one. This is a mentor-mentee. We have Shadow Wraith. It's such a fun time, and I cannot wait to continue on in this series because book 2 left off on the biggest cliffhanger of cliffhangers. Okay, TBR Bluff roll number 4. Actually, TBR Bluff roll number 5. Nothing. That's exciting. Well, technically a straight, but we don't have that on here. So, do I keep any of them out, or do I just wing it and reroll the whole thing? I wing it and reroll the whole thing. Okay, so that got me 2 4s and 2 1s, which is a fantasy book. I don't really have any fantasy that I'm planning to read next month. Actually, I lied. I do have one, so we're gonna go with that. Okay, so that is what the first board of 2025 looks like when we're done. I'm really excited about this new board. I think it's already looking great, but this is going to be harder than I thought. And then for roll number 5, we got 2 4s and 2 1s, which was a fantasy. And I told you guys I'm going to have to be a little careful not to put a romantasy in the fantasy spot. But for this one, I'm going to be going with, it's still a genre blend, but I think it leans more fantasy and it definitely doesn't really lean romantasy. And that is The Mask Falling by Samantha Shannon. This I'm reading with my patrons as well. We're doing the entire series before Dark Mirror comes out. I believe it's in late February, and this one is January and February's pick. It is my favorite of the series. This is a reread for me, but I still have to read The Song Rising, so we can add both of those to the TBR because I didn't read it in December like I was supposed to. This series is a sci-fi fantasy series, like dystopian fantasy series, and it has clairvoyance. There is a rebellion looming. It's so good, and I adore this book, at least when I read it the first time. I'm hoping the second time I adore it as much as I did before. I know it's gonna rip my heart out. It did the first time, but at least I have my emotional support people to help me through it. Okay, so that is a short and sweet TBR for you guys for the month of January. I will still have a Patreon buddy read to put on this list, but I'm a slacker and we haven't picked it yet, so I don't don't know what it's going to be, but that will be added to the list as well. Even though there are only 5 books in this stack, it is a little bit on the chunky side. Let me keep adding. Okay, we're going to use Iron Flame as the placeholder for Onyx Storm, but like this is what we're working with for my TBR for the month of January. This is nowhere near all of the books. I want to read so many books in January, so many booktuber favorites, it's not even funny. So it's going to be a busy reading month, but I'm excited. I love to read people's favorites. I love to find new favorites, and I almost always do. So thank you guys so very much for watching. Let me know what book you are the most excited to read down in the comments below. But if you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out, leave me some kind of firework, exciting 2025 emoji, what you think the year is going to be, down in the comments below. As always, thank you guys so very much for watching. If you want to see previous episodes of TBR Bluff, they are on the screen for you guys to check out, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!